Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode. I guess I'm going to invite my friend Leanne here. She is a medium. She channels spirit. She channels shadow work. She's actually channeled people who have crossed over for me, and she's done it for a good friend of mine as well, Eric, with Divine Conversations. He gives you rave reviews. And we are going to do a little chatting about Mercury retrograde. And we might even have some time to do a little bit of channeling of spirit as well. We'll see how that goes. We were talking about that before, see how that goes. But I want to get Leanne's take on this Mercury retrograde in between the eclipse portal, because I don't want everybody to freak out about this one. I know that it's kind of because of all the energies that are going on, because we have so much stuff to think about. I feel like if we lay it out in kind of a chill sort of way, our human nature can chillax as well. So whatever spirit is saying, I know that Leanne was writing some things down before we started. So whatever spirit was saying with Mercury retrograde, I'm going to go ahead and let you take it.
Okay, awesome. So hello, everybody. I am Leanne. I'm from SHELLrevival. That's my YouTube channel and my Instagram handle. So I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me here. So first, what we're going to talk about is, my reflection, or my spirit guide's reflection on Mercury retrograde. Like Betsy said, we're not feeling like this retrograde is a retrograde that we should go into with a state of fear. I know time and time again, we talk about retrograde and we're like, oh no, Mercury retrograde's happening. And it's almost as if we set our vibration in a sense where we're almost manifesting a bad time during Mercury retrograde because we're expecting the worst. Because it tends to be, one of the most popular topics to talk about, and honestly most feared. So my spirit teams really talked about taking some time during this Mercury retrograde to reflect, have some inner reflection. So instead of basically going in and really worrying and trying to push through this energy, what it's asking you to do is take a step back. So take a step back. And we really just got done last month with some serious heavy shadow work energy that I know a lot of you felt. So right now it's kind of time to take a break because the energy is going to shift again after the Mercury retrograde into more of a new self-discovery. So last week, and the week before, it was like, oh man, the energy is so heavy. And it was challenging for a lot of us, really having to face some serious, internal shadows to go into this period to just take it easy. So Spirit's really talking about, be brave and laugh, have some time to meditate. And practice your self-care and your self-love during this period. And just try to just take it easy and surrender yourself to the energy.
Well, and I think that some of the fears behind this is that we also have 4 other planets that'll be retrograde as well. Yes. And they're the big ones, right? It's Saturn, yes, Pluto, and Jupiter, and Neptune. And I was talking about how the moon and Neptune are in opposition today, which really brings out a very psychic ability, except yes, the moon is in Virgo, and that's a very grounding energy. And with Neptune retrograde, yes, that's let's live in reality and not illusion. So I feel like what this Mercury retrograde yes, is really telling us to do is taking the step back and not living so much for what could happen, and living the now, be very, very present in your moment this month. I think that yes, a lot of us get so wrapped up in what's happening in the future and where are we going in the future and what's, what can I expect from my future, that we
Yes.
forget to be really, really super present. And it's really funny because I'm gonna post this video and I'm gonna show everybody how when there are two high vibrational energies coming together, and my Wi-Fi, everybody knows, like when I do lives, that my Wi-Fi is stuff anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, because it's really fast when I'm uploading the videos, but when I'm actually doing the live portions, or when I'm recording through Zoom here, because that's what we're using the Zoom platform, it's you're skipping quite a bit, so you will see that in the video.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. You're not even doing it. Like, it's not even your fault. But the message is coming across still. Like, you can still.
Good. I'm glad.
I just for those people that are going to make the comment, like, the video skipping, I'm aware. First of all, we're aware that the video, I don't know if it's skipping on your end when I'm talking to you.
It's not skipping on my end, but I do feel that, you and I have our vibrations, like, spiritually are very high. So
Right.
I do feel that connection between me and you. And I think that is affecting some of the, here we go, the communication that's supposed to be translating.
Right. Well, so here's the thing, is when it comes to Mercury retrograde, this one for sure, when you are communicating with other people, and this is a really, really big thing that we should really carry into our daily lives when it's not Mercury retrograde, but maybe now's the time to really practice it, is when you are communicating with people, be super discerning, because now is the time for all that shadow work that we did. Those wounds were supposed to come up so we could heal them, so we can stop hurting other people with our own wounds. And I actually posted something on Instagram today it was a Twitter post. And I follow this girl, and somebody else had posted it on Instagram. So I actually got it from somebody else on Instagram, but it's a Twitter post of somebody that I follow. Mm-hmm. And I remember reading it like a month ago, but it's all about, let's heal our wounds so that we don't accidentally hurt somebody that we love because we're still wounded. So I think that's the way that it was put. Here, hold on a second. Let me double check, because I want to get the wording right, because it's so.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Spirit's just talking to me right now, and they're talking to me about jumping to conclusions. Yes. So, that's a lesson during this time with communication. They were feeding back on what you're saying, and they're just saying that, when we consider communication, it's such a broad spectrum type word. Like, what is communication? It's not just talking face to face. It's also emails from work. It's text messages. It's phone calls. There's all different types of communication. Even to be silent, just sitting next to someone and just like crossing your arms could be, signal something. So, Spirit was just talking to me about, you're absolutely right. This should not just be being mindful of communication during Mercury retrograde. We should be mindful all the time of our communication to others, and really taking a moment to pause to give the benefit of the doubt, or recognizing when we should speak and when we shouldn't. Right. So during this period, when we're being challenged with the communication, just remind yourself to take a moment to pause, and then come back to that email later, or come back to that text message later, and then read it again. Because sometimes when, especially during this period, we're going to read something and we're going to be like, oh no, they didn't. And then we could read it in an hour and then be like, I took that completely out of context. So yeah, they were feeding back to me on what you were saying, just saying that we need to be mindful of just taking a step back and lowering our energy a little bit in our defensive mode to really see like what the person's trying to get across. And if it seems hostile, then basically put your wall up. You know what I mean? Put your wall up and just don't let that stuff affect you. And try to ask more questions on where they're coming from. Because sometimes, when we're texting, we're like, what did you just say? And then they're like, I didn't mean it that way.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because I have noticed, like, in the shadow work that I did in the weeks in the past couple of weeks.
Previous, yeah.
People are over explaining themselves because they don't want to be misunderstood, but then within the over explaining, it almost feels critical. And it's not even that even if you're not even meaning to criticize somebody, if it's not your place to interject, like I'll take advice from those who love me when they are meaning well to do it.
Absolutely.
You are going on and on and on and on. I mean, and I'm a Virgo, so it's really difficult for me to sit there and be like, are you going to explain to me again what you just explained to me? Like, do you honestly think that that's like, because Virgos are like, could you not waste my time in explaining it to me and then explaining it again over the explaining? I mean, it's like, so yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah. One of the things that I really want people to ask themselves is, by me interjecting my opinion or my advice into this situation, is this bettering the situation, or am I just going to make it worse by making the person feel this tall by over explaining myself, kind of thing? You know, it's like,
yeah,
when you mean well, that's one thing.
Yeah. And that's, you know, that's what spirit, sorry, go ahead.
No,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that is, you know, even clocks back. Oh, it was the skipping of the video. I didn't mean to. So, you know, that's what spirit was talking to me about in the very beginning when we were sitting down, really, you know, getting, talking about this, retrograde, is just, we need to be in our authentic truth. And I know me as a Sagittarius, like I do want to over explain, and I want to go like, you know, pan to fire. And I just want to tell you like 1,001 stories and not stop talking. So the thing is, you know, I'm even going to have to practice, because I've got Jupiter in retrograde, and now we're going into the Mercury retrograde period. But, you know, I've really got to practice that, because I felt the same way. Like I would say something, you know, in these weeks previous, and I'd be like trying to like explain myself or like over explain or over, you know, do my explanations. And it was almost causing people to be frustrated. Like even I was having a situation with my mom, and she's like, you don't have to explain yourself like 5 times. And I'm like, you're right. You know, just because of that shadow work period, you know, being over apologetic or, you know, explaining yourself to try to get the point across. But then it comes like, okay, that's being annoying. Like,
now you're just overdoing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and the really funny thing is the apologizing for what you're trying to say also is something like, if you feel like you have to apologize for it, then maybe it doesn't need to be said. Like if you're apologizing before you're even saying, it's so funny because just thinking about like past conversations that I used to have with like my ex-husband or something, he would preface the conversation with, now don't get upset about this. And I'm like, wait a second, like now I'm defensive already before you even say anything, because you're already saying I'm going to get upset about it. You already know that I'm going to get upset about it. So why are you going to say it anyway?
Yeah.
So if you're saying like, I'm sorry for what I'm about to say, but ... like, no, like that's not. And I feel like with this anyways, my whole point is, I feel like with this, as I over-explained myself.
No, you're fine.
I feel like with this Mercury retrograde.
No, you know what? This is us getting together, and you're just picking up on my Sagittarius energy. Like
it really is kind of funny, because that's what I tend to do, is I pick up on other people's energy.
Yeah, well, just like my nose started to run before I started this video.
Yeah, and which is funny, it's not anymore. But my allergies,
yeah, mine isn't either.
Yeah, my allergies were killing me like all day.
Yeah.
And I even said to Leanne before we started this, I was like, oh my God, my nose is running so much. I really hope it doesn't, like, I just didn't want it to run while we were doing this. And she was like, oh my God, my nose is running now too.
Yeah, like as soon as even actually before I got your text message, that's exactly what began to happen. But I think we should get into some spiritual.
Okay, let's do it. I can tell already that something's happening.
Yeah, I feel like the energy is starting to shift a little bit. So, I want to basically give an introduction to what I do. I am a psychic medium, but my main type of platform work is not to prove the existence of afterlife. So I believe that's been established by some very famous psychic mediums that are on TV, that there is afterlife, there is life after death.
Right.
So what my purpose is with SHELLrevival, Spirit has led me here to, and I have a great team of spirit guides. They're working with me to basically work on 5 principles. So our principles are about spirituality, humanity, equality, lessons, and love. So they talk to me to talk to the collective about bringing us, the collective, humanity, and spirituality together to not only help us evolve and raise our vibration to 5D or live happier lives, but also work on just a restoration of humanity back to some of the basics. So a lot of things going on right now that we're dealing with are bringing us into a state where, we don't communicate as much face to face. A lot of us are going through depression, or we are going through these changes where our vibrations are raising and we don't know what's going on. So in my channel, I do a lot of life alignment, or whatever they try to talk to me about, which most recently on my channel is about shadow work. And so why we talked about shadow work in the very beginning is because of the law of attraction and just about manifestation. So absolutely, I am a supporter, and my team is a supporter of the law of attraction, but it's the channel so far, and the baseline videos is just basically about changing our vibration. So what we're going to do first, we are going to work with Betsy to demonstrate what's called evidential mediumship. So I am, and these are like Google words too. So I'll just, I always talk on my channel some of the terminologies we use as psychic mediums can be a little complicated. So evidential mediumship means that someone from Betsy's past who has crossed over is going to come in and is going to talk to me either clairvoyantly, meaning they're going to show me, I'm going to be able to see with my third eye. So that's another Google word. But my third eye, I'm also clairaudient, and I'm also clairsentient. So they're going to come in and basically they're going to communicate with me in a way where I will be able to establish the presence of them. And then they're going to work with me to basically help Betsy with something with life alignment, because that's my purpose here for the collective, is working on life alignment. And I've not only been doing
no matter how
it with spirit, but I also actually do it professionally.
Yeah, and we all need that. No matter how self-aligned we think we are, there's always a little bit more improvement that we can have. And the people that have crossed over, they see things in a different way, in a very different way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, that's my team's message coming across is, a lot of times, and this is no disrespect to any mediums out there, we have the, your ancestors or your neighbor or your ex-boyfriend or your ex-husband or whatever the case may be is coming through to you to basically let you know something. And basically they come through to me to tell you something that you could work on in your life, or let you know that you're not alone, or you haven't been alone during times of crisis or depression, or, I'm the medium that's going to give it to you like straight up. I'm going to tell you about, I tell people that when I do life alignments that, sometimes they take me to periods in your life where it was the most challenging, to let you know that you weren't alone during those periods.
Yeah.
So let's see what I can pull.
So we're going to let Leanne do her thing.
Yep, just give me 1 second and I'm going to try to get in alignment. And
I'm so interested to see who's going to come through.
Betsy, I feel your grandfather trying to come through again. But I'm going to have him step back I'm going to have him talk to us another time, but he's trying to come back through to talk. But
so the first time we did this, my grandfather came through, and he's like the loudest of all of them, which is not.
He is. He's coming back through, and he's like, "Hi," and he's starting to talk to me, and I'm like, "I love you to death," but Betsy and I will definitely talk to you offline, but I need to bring somebody else through. So I'm kind of asking him to let somebody else step in. Let's see.
He's like that though. He's an Aries, so must be first.
Yes. I'm going to go with this, and I'm hoping it's not your grandfather stepping in with a different look, because sometimes when spirits step in, you think they're going to step in the way that you saw them before they passed, but that's not always necessarily true. So sometimes when they step in, they're going to step in looking the way they want to look. Like my grandmother, when she steps in, she looks about 45, even though she died when she was 70. So bear with me as I go through this for people who have never seen evidential mediumship, but I do tend to talk fast. I may not look directly at the camera, and I may have some broken sentences or things that don't necessarily make sense that I need to work through as I'm communicating with them. All right, so first I'm having a man come through. I feel like this man has light colored hair. And he has light eyes, which I know I feel like he has a connection to your grandfather. Yeah, he has light hair, light eyes, and he's wearing a collared shirt with jeans with a black belt, and I feel like he's wearing sneakers or something. Like he is a casually dressed type person.
Okay.
And I feel like he does have some relation to your grandfather. So I feel like there is blood relation between your grandfather and him. I feel like he smoked cigarettes. I'm feeling like this guy smoked cigarettes. Let's see. Okay, maybe it's just because your grandfather is standing right next to him.
I don't think that they're blood. I mean, I wouldn't know actually if he was blood related because my grandfather was adopted.
Okay. Are you recognizing any of this with the guy that's stepping forward?
I feel like it's my other grandfather actually.
Okay, because I feel like there's a relation. So that's what I might not be getting, but they're standing next to each other, and I feel like this person though, like, has a different energy than your grandfather does. Like, I feel like your grandfather was is more of like a patriarch. The energy that your grandfather is here, he demonstrates as a very, sure man who was like really a stronghold in your family. This man, other man that's standing next to him, I feel like he's more laid back. So he's a person that I feel like he would have gave me candy and he would have been passive with me. Like he wouldn't be like your grandfather that we've discussed previously, which is your mom's father. Mm-hmm. I feel like he's like, we've talked about his voice, and I feel like he's even standing there still. Like he's the one you're just like, oh, when he talks sometimes, or like, even though he was very kind and life, and even though he still had that presence about him that was like, I am in charge, I know what I'm doing, I can fix that. And this other man is, I feel like he is more of an energy that is laid back, and I feel like he feels quiet, and that he's showing me like a garage or some kind of shed, and I feel like he worked on things. Like I can see him like working on things or using his hands. He's talking to me about using his hands.
Oh, I know who this is. This is actually my great-grandfather.
Oh, okay. I feel like the shed that I'm seeing is on it like a wooden shed. Like it's not something that you would pick up from Home Depot right now.
Yeah, no, it's like on a farm. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So what it's on right now is I see him, and the car he's working on is definitely an older vehicle, but I feel like he collected stuff. Like he would go and be like, let me, like something on the side of the road, like he's showing me driving down like the road or like walking down the road and finding something on the side of the road. And then he's taking it back. But basically, I feel like he made some money doing this too, because some of the things he did fix and he would like flip them. So he would find it and then he would fix it and then, you know, basically sell it back for money.
Yeah, we actually have, my mom has a table that he restored. I mean, it's like 100 years old now, maybe even more, but he like totally restored it. And we've had that thing I've known my entire life. So yeah, but he restored it.
Yeah, and I just feel like he's kind of a weathered man too. Like he was a man that was always outside, and he's talking to me about his family being such a priority to him. So it's not that necessarily he wasn't the most open man with his like emotional speech. Like he wasn't a man that would speak and be like, I love you. Like I feel like there might have also been like at certain times some edge about him, or at the end of his life he's talking about him kind of being a jerk. Like he was old, and I feel like he was a little edgy or a little testy towards the end of his life.
Yeah.
So what?
I don't really remember him at the end of his life, but
okay.
I can see him being a little, snappy at things. I mean, I said I can see him being a little snappy at things.
Yeah, I feel like there was also, I feel like I'm having some issues with my brain or my thinking. Like I feel like I'm confused, or like basically I don't like what other people are doing. So I feel like there's some dementia towards the end of my life, or maybe some Alzheimer's. I'm also feeling a feeling of there was some lung issues because I'm feeling lung issues, and I'm feeling like also that he like it was a long he passed in a way that like he was sick before he passed. Like it wasn't like just immediate. I mean, we all do die in an immediate sense, but I feel that he was dealing with things long before his passing. Yeah. So I almost feel too, he was a man that didn't like to go to the doctor. Like, I feel like he was like, had some pride in his, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sure and that's like, I don't really, I just remember bits and pieces of him.
Yes.
I don't remember him well enough to know whether he would be a man that would go to the doctor or not. But I do.
Okay. No problem.
I like that he's with Grandpa though, because that's actually
standing right next to each other, and that was what was confusing me a little bit, because I'm like, I'm getting grandfather energy from both of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were standing, they still are, they're standing right next to each other. So let me see if he can talk to me about, let's see. He passed before the birth of your first child.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The hospital room when you had your first baby. So I feel like I see blue sheets, or you're in a hospital bed, and I it's like the like when you're having surgery, you know, they put the blue like stuff you like throw away, the blue like sheet or whatever. I see those in the room on you when you're having your first baby, and I feel like the doctor is coming from your right, and I see the baby swaddled, or it's like the doctor's holding the baby, and I feel like the doctor has on like green gloves, and he's handing you the baby, and your grandfather is talking about being there. I feel like there's also a man in the room. He's talking to me about like your husband was in the room with you. I mean, I know that's pretty typical, but there's like multiple people in the room when you're having the baby. Does this correlate with you?
Yeah.
Okay. And I feel like the man that was with you, your husband that was with you, or the man that was with you, he I feel like it was like your great grandfather is talking to me about, this was a very emotional moment for him, actually. Like he felt a great sense of pride, like, and I'm talking about the man who's still alive. He's felt a great sense of pride during this moment. I feel like you both did. It was like, everything's gonna be okay kind of moment. I don't know. Like, I feel like the feelings that you get when you have a baby, and it was like a very connection moment for you two, with the birth of the baby. It wasn't like one of those like where he might have not been supportive or not been there. I feel like there is a deep sense of energy and connection in this moment where you're having this baby, and I can feel the joy from you. Like, I feel like it's almost making me want to cry. Like, I feel like you were probably crying when you had the baby, and it wasn't like, I feel like you're like, I did it. Like, like, I did it. Like, you know, I don't feel like your birth was like easy. Like, I don't even feel like pregnancy was easy for you, is what he's talking to me about. Like, I don't feel like you went through a pregnancy where you were like, I'm glowing and I don't even know I'm pregnant.
You know what? He's actually talking about my third son.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. He's mentioning to me being in that room, and I feel like this pregnancy was like you threw up a lot during this pregnancy, or you were sick and you were just like, I need this to be over with. But it was like the whole pregnancy. Like, he's showing me, and I know I'm like getting a little, this is the stuff that they talk to me about, but he's talking to me about like you just getting sick, like you being in the bathroom and you just hunched over. I see you hunched over on a bathroom floor near a toilet, and I just feel like you're pregnant and you're just like, feel like you're dying. Like, you're just like, and he's watching you. And that's one of the things that when he's bringing through these memories for me, shared memories, what he's telling me, you know, what they bring through is he's wanting you to know that he was there for you. I feel like he felt like so bad for you during that period. Like, and I feel like he's kneeling down next to you in this smaller bathroom, and I feel like the bathroom is smaller, but I feel like the cabinets are like a lighter color. I don't feel like they're like super dark. There was a moment when you're like, I feel like you're laying down on the floor and you're pregnant and you're like on your hands and knees, and you're just like I don't see you throwing up. I feel like you're like in your third trimester, and you're just like I hate saying this. You're just like, please God, let this be over with. I'm dying here. Like,
well,
you know, basically down on the floor. And I see him.
I know that exact moment that he's talking about. And it was summer. I mean, it was like my third son was born, and all three of them were born in in August. And I was literally like, I had the air conditioning set at 62 or something like that. But I was so miserable that I was like in a cold bathtub. And to get out of the bathtub, I had to crawl out of the bathtub.
Yeah, I see you on the floor, like almost in a fetal, like your hands are on the floor, your knees are tucked in, and your belly is, but because your belly is large, it's like between your legs. And I feel like you're shaking. Like I can feel you shaking. Like,
yeah, it was rough.
It's like, you're just is so out, just uneven. It's like
Yeah.
you're just pregnant and you're like, all these different things are going on. And, you know, I can see from his vision, he's showing me you in the bathroom laying on the floor. And I feel like he felt so bad for you in that moment. And then when he was next to you when you were down on the floor. And then, like I said, he's taking me to that room. And I feel like that was like the moment for you that you were just like, I did this. Like, it was all worth it. Like, it, you know, even though I don't even feel like your birth was easy either. Like getting him out, like you were just like, the whole thing was like, you know, difficult. But, you know, what I'm feeling in this room though, is that there is a connection in this moment in your life that is, I feel like, is unforgettable. And I feel like he's in this room with you and he is just sharing to me how he's standing right next to you and how proud he is of you. And like, I feel like he's also proud that another baby has like come into the family. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's almost making me feel that as if like he came with the baby. Like the spirit, like that he brought the baby with, like,
I wouldn't be surprised by that at all.
Yeah, I just like feel like there is a deep sense of connection with your youngest child and him. And he's bringing forward also, and he actually is acknowledging that to me, that there is a deep connection with your son and with him. And, let's see. I feel like he's bringing up a fire truck. So some kind of like small fire truck or something. He's bringing that up where he's like, he's following your son down a hallway. And I feel like your son might also be wearing like a jacket. Like, I feel like there's some kind of jacket or like, I feel like he wears mismatched clothes. Like he's going to go in his closet and put on one rain boot, one sneaker, like some bright yellow shorts and like a jacket in the middle of summer. And I feel like there's some references to this fire truck. And I feel that your son has your intuition and that he's acknowledging that your son has seen him before.
Oh, that's cool.
So I feel like they've played together or something. Yeah, I definitely, so I see him behind and he's, like I said, annotating the fire truck. And what can you take with the fire truck?
That's Jack. That's all he does is play with fire trucks and buses and.
Okay, yeah, that's what he's taking a fire truck down the hallway and your great-grandfather is behind him. And I hear your son talking to himself, or like maybe he'll be like, blah, 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 and you'll be like, your great-grandfather is with him, and he's annotating that by showing me the fire truck and your son going down this hallway and the way he's dressed. And he's very imaginative. Your child is very imaginative. And he's telling me that sometimes that when things might seem strange as a mom, when you're just like, why is he doing that? Or like, you know, you're just like, or you things may seem like kind of not the way that we would have done things when we were kids. He's talking about, which will be in a huge later video.
Oh my gosh, I know exactly what you're talking. Like he will, like
it's not. So the things that he's doing. Oh, go ahead.
He'll talk at like in this octave, like this higher octave. It's It's like grating. I'm like Jack, stop talking. So that's
it's something that you're feeling like, why is he doing this? This seems abnormal or whatever. And what your great-grandfather is bringing up is that it's not that it's abnormal. Your son has a very creative mind. Mm-hmm. So a lot of children that are being born within, you know, this new generation of children, because of their extra DNA strands, they are not doing things the same way we are. So a lot of time we're going to ask like, why is my kid doing this? This is so like out of the ordinary. It's not that you're, being judgmental as a parent. You're just like, why is he doing this? And I feel like in your son's mind, what your grandfather is projecting is there is a lot of creativity and imagination going on in his head. And he also has a deep sensitivity to the world and to things around him. Like, I feel like your grandfather is showing me that as he continues to grow, there are going to be things that are going to seem a little different about him, but it's not in a bad way. We just have to remember that our children are being developed differently for the 5D ascension, for the, restoring Gaia, and that your son, I feel like he's going to be a creator. Like, there's teachers and there's, what we're doing, like different jobs in the collective. I feel like even now, I feel like I see your son coloring, or there is a want to do some type of like artistic type stuff, even though he may not, like, I feel like he wanted, even making messes. Like,
so he literally will build his own drum set and then play, like, with boxes. He'll take boxes and
yes,
a drum set and play. And I mean, he can play the drums like nobody I've ever seen. He's not even 6 years old yet. And it's kind of insane. So yeah, he's really good at making the messes, but he's not really good at cleaning them up.
Yes. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I'm just seeing like the mess, like there's a method to the madness is what I'm doing.
There is, definitely. And I can see that in him. I really like the clarification, the confirmation, because I've always known that there was something a little bit special and different about this kid. But he's been very challenging. That's the word that I'll use.
Yes.
Very challenging.
Yes.
And a lot of times he doesn't know how to express himself very well. So he gets angry very easily. Yep. If people aren't not paying attention, but if people aren't like listening to what he's trying to say, he gets angry very easily.
Yes.
And he's just learning how to express himself. So I totally can see all of that. It's very clear.
Yeah, and that's why they're wanting me to bring up the fact to you that his mind has a lot going on in it.
Yeah, I know.
So, like, because of the creativity, and because of his job, like, and obviously being born from you, this is something that's passed down, and he was made this way. Like, I know we're all made a certain way, but his job is I feel like in the future is going to be something to do with creation. So, or creating something new, or creating in a way that's going to affect other people's vibrations in a positive way. Yeah. So that's why, your great grandfather is talking to me about like understanding your son's like not doing things the like normal route. And that's what even the message I feel like even going out to our, the collective is, our kids that are like, I would say about 7 and under, I think a lot of people are going to relate to this, that you're just like, what is my kid doing? Who are they talking to? Like,
they're Neptune and Pisces babies.
Yes. And they are very special, and they're being born with the ability to already do things that have, didn't develop in us until our 30s. You know what I mean? They're being born with that. So it's like, and they're going to be breaking the chains, like breaking the mold. That's what they're doing, is like breaking the mold. And so what we're being told, what he's bringing through, and I think is a very beautiful message for all of us, is being patient with them and understanding their minds operate a lot differently. And what society has talked to us about being abnormal, or maybe, maybe our own social or personal, our reactions to things being abnormal, we have to be open to like, things are going to be a heck of a lot different in about 20 years. Our kids are taking over the world and changing things. So we have to just be mindful to support them. And I am in the same position. Go ahead.
No, I think that that's a wonderful message, because I think that we adults, sometimes we forget to look at our children like they are also like little beings that are growing at a much more rapid rate than we are. And I feel like before you kind of awaken, before you have that wake up call, that spiritual awakening, you don't really see, because I mean, and I know for a fact in my childhood, I was very clamped down. I was very like, be seen and not heard kind of. And I know that that's really weird, but even in the 80s, that's how it was. It's like, it's so funny because I've been watching Stranger Things and I'm like, that's so true. Like we could leave the house and say we're staying the night at a friend's house and our parents wouldn't have been the wiser. Like they didn't keep a track on us like kids have the track now. But at the same time, it's like we want our kids to be really creative and very open. And sometimes we forget about it and we have to remind ourselves, oh yeah, they're like little people too. They have to have bad days and they're going to have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's good clarification to know, because he's a very, very challenging child sometimes. And it's like, the older he gets, and the more he can communicate, it's easier.
No, absolutely. And your great-grandfather, and I actually do this with my kid too, is call on him. So this is, when we talk about in other types of mediumship or other things that we see, like there's always the establishment of mediumship. But what, kind of my thing is that you can utilize them to help you. So they're here to help you. So your great-grandfather is telling me, and I promise you this is going to work. And when it does, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, like, why didn't I call on him sooner? Like when there's times that your son is like that, or I feel like sometimes at night you're like, please go to bed. Like, or he's like, won't go to bed and he keeps getting up, or like, I feel like there's almost a bit of insomnia or something, like when he doesn't always go to sleep and he's just like, I'm awake.
We have to do bedtime stories. We actually do guided meditations for children to get.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, because I feel like the nighttime, his vibration actually rises at night. So that's awesome that you're doing that, because I feel like a sense of like oneness with the night or with the moon for him. But saying, your great-grandfather is saying, like, next time you like are in a situation where maybe you feel like your patience is tested or you don't know what to do regarding him, like ask for help. So that's even my encouragement. And I just did this a bit ago when, my little special boy was like not falling asleep. I call my grandmother and I'm like, please help me talk to him. And then you're going to listen. And I promise it's going to work. Like, it may not solve it every single time, but I feel like their energy goes in there and just helps them calm down. And they're already recognizing those energies that it's taken us years to develop. So, I think that your great-grandfather is bringing a beautiful message for the collective, is that there's not only the establishment of life after death, which we've already seen so many times on TV, but we're changing, like humanity is changing in a way where we're changing norms that have been going on for generations. Generational curses are breaking. We are recognizing that, things we're seeing on TV aren't necessarily true. Medication, stuff like that people are, like I said, cigarettes and alcohol are illegal to show on TV, but pharmaceutical drugs are, we read those all the time. So very beautiful message that he brought through.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you, Leanne. It's really funny towards the end there. I started.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on your channel.
Yeah, I had to drink some water because I was starting to get dizzy. I was starting to feel like the waves of energy. It was like, okay, I'm getting a little dizzy here. So that's why.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it gets, that's what I was saying, is that even when I hate watching my videos back when I'm talking to spirit, because I know I look kind of weird and I'm like looking off to the left and right, but I'm like, it's like you are getting so clairaudience. I'm hearing things, I'm seeing things with my third eye, and they're showing me different things in shared memories. So as I'm absorbing that, it raises your vibration. And then they have to lower their vibration so we can communicate at the same level, and I can transmit that to you. But I think that's a beautiful message that even for the collective that he brought through. And I think a lot of people are going to relate to that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was very, very cool. So thank you very much for doing that. That's got to be exhausting. Does that exhaust you to do that?
So this is what I'll say, is that after practice, it isn't exhausting. But when you first start doing it, it really can suck the life out of you. Absolutely. Because you have to raise your vibration so high to reach their level that if you aren't effective in processing or meditating or learning to communicate with them in your way, it can really suck a lot of energy out of you. But after a while, it will start to give you energy. So when you connect with them, you know what you're looking for. You are using your gifts to be able to communicate with them and understanding what they want to tell you, which is not always clear.
Yeah.
So it's not like some people think mediumship is like me and you know, on this YouTube channel, just talking away, and they're just talking to me. And that's not really what it is. It's a lot of interpretation on things they show, some things they'll say, some things they'll take me back to the past, which is a lot of my purpose, is the life alignment and the shared memories and the relation they play in your life now.
Yeah. Well, and I know it's very, because I'm clairaudient and clairsentient, it's very similar to something that I do. And I actually have moments of being clairvoyant, but I've never actually, and I'm sure that I have spoken with somebody who's passed over. I actually have done it before, but it's not something that I do on a regular basis. So I was just curious if it's like, because just feeling that high vibration where you were and having to drink the water, like, and maybe just because I wasn't ready for my vibration to go that high. And it was just kind of like a whoosh that came over me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does. Absolutely.
Caught me off guard.
So when you first start, and I've already talked to you about you're waking up to, or like you're with a mediumship, you know, when you start first communicating with them or start to open up, it is like the energy is super intense. So when I first started, like my hands would shake, or like what you have to do is practice on being grounded, which is a terminology we use as psychic mediums about being down here on earth, basically.
Yeah.
And because when we raise our vibration spiritually, we're connecting beyond the veil. So it can make you feel kind of dizzy or flighty or forgetful. So things like drinking water, which is absolutely a great thing, taking some bites to eat, planting your feet flat on the floor and thinking about being grounded to earth, meditation, those help out a lot. So different psychic mediums have different ways that they practice being grounded, but we all have like a ritual, like something we do to connect over to the other side.
That's totally true. And it's so funny because I actually was doing my ritual, like right before we started, I had my
yeah, we all have that. Yeah, it's some kind of like way that like we're like, I got to turn this light on, and I have to do this, and then I have to take 3 sips of this, and then I got to ground myself. So yeah, definitely.
Would you say that it's very similar to like what a baseball player does, because they're like, you know what I mean, when they're good luck charms, like I'm not going to change my socks for 6 games or until we lose or something.
Yeah, it is though, because I feel like there's the same way that I go into the veil and I come back out, or things that I do when I know, like, sometimes my vibration didn't come down as fast as I wanted to. Cause like I said, it can make you shaky. It can make you feel like you drank like too much coffee or energy drink. That's why a lot of mediums, if you watch them, like even famous mediums, sometimes they'll sweat a lot or they'll talk super fast, because our internal energy and our vibration is raising. So our little bodies here, are like, whoa, there's like a lot of high vibration here. So that's when we have to work on the closing, is coming back down and bringing our entire energy back down to earth.
That's so funny. I feel like that's what happened to me today during the daily reading, because towards the end of the reading, I was like, my brain just turned to mush. For like no reason. It just, all of a sudden, it was just like a gray slate. So that's the only way I can think of anyways.
Yeah. And remember, I think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Because I get a lot of questions from people on like, how do you train to do something like what you do? And I know how I trained to do what I do. Like, I taught myself how to read cards when I became clairaudient. The clairaudience just like sort of showed up for me. Like out of the blue, I did my whole dark night of the soul, and then I was like waking up, and all of a sudden I became clairaudient. And the way that I learned how to channel was through teaching myself how to do tarot. But what would you tell somebody that says, I've always kind of had these feelings, and I feel like I can talk to people who have passed over, but I don't really know how to harness it. Like, what would you tell them to do?
So I'll first say this, is that I almost feel like I'm a combination of religion. So first of all, I'm going to talk about that, because what's important about that is that I don't believe in the existence, which I know there's a lot of different opinions out there, but I don't believe in the existence of like spirits coming through to like wreck your house and like possess you and stuff. That's me personally. I've been doing this for, I've been seeing spirits for a very, very long time, and I've been channeling for quite some time. And I've never had one person come through or one entity come through that like tried to burn my house down or like try to possess me. So step number one is like understanding what your beliefs are and not watching those like ghost shows on TV where they're like, oh, this poltergeist came and like ripped the wallpaper off my wall. Like, I'm not discrediting paranormal activity. That is definitely something that can happen, but that can also happen as a medium when you have like physical abilities, which I don't. But if you can have physical abilities to be able to affect the weather, to affect lights, like that is definitely proven. But there is also other reasons other than paranormal activity than what we see on the show. And I say that because when you start to open up as a medium, there's really no turning back. So it's like you can't unsee what you saw. So I, like I said, I am 36 years old. I have been seeing spirits my whole life. My mom is a medium. My grandmother was a medium. Like, we all have had no situation where somebody has come in and like tried to do harm. Have they been sad? Have they, did they have some feelings about their passing? Do they say things like, oh man, yeah, this one time I like peed in Steve's closet or something? Like, yes. Or tell me stuff about, different clients that I'm like, should I say this? But, yeah, they tell me stuff all the time. That's why I always tell people when I read them, I'm just letting you know that they're going to talk to me sometimes about things that you might be like, yeah, I peed in Steve's closet in the 3rd grade. And like, so, I tell people not to be embarrassed, but they might bring up stuff to like, joke with you. Or, I think your grandfather was actually joking with you too when we were talking to him. And getting used to their energy. So initially when you wake up and you start, like, I believe that everyone is a psychic medium. I believe in the spiritualist religion, we believe that everyone is a psychic medium.
Yeah, we
so
all have that ability.
Part of, my myriad of religions that I pressed together.
Yeah.
But everybody is. It's just that we've been taught that, like, we see all these ghost shows and they're like, Satan came to your house and like burned it down and like possessed your daughter and all this stuff. And we are afraid of their frequency and their vibration. Like when they come near us sometimes, we're like, oh man, it feels scary because the vibration is high.
Right.
And high vibration in general, because we are ascending to 5D, high vibration in general to us right now, not to our children, but to us, can feel uncomfortable and have certain effects on us because our vibration is not that high. So that feeling that you get coming towards you when you have spirit coming towards you, it's not something to be afraid of. It's your body feeling a higher vibration that can trigger a sense of anxiety. So that's what I feel about it. And that's why we could be scared sometimes when we're like, I feel like somebody's in the room, but no one's here. And you kind of feel like an anxiety. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what the high vibration is that I do, or mediums do. They have to lift their energy in a sense that it could feel like anxiety or fear in some senses. But you have to recognize that's their energy. And they're just trying to be like, hey, what's up? What's going on? I'm here. And you're like, get away from me, and like spraying sage everywhere. You know what I mean? So you have to be comfortable with that. Number two, like, cause that's
not why
I get it. Like, oh, no. I'm not judging you at all. I'm just saying, like, I know that I'm talking to some people out there that are just like there's these like, yeah, they're like going to buy these paranormal books or like how to cast like spirits out of your house or whatever the case may be.
But I do have to say that, like, I actually, one of my mentors that I highly, highly look up to her, she actually has had psychic attacks before from entities and spirits and dark forces, and has written a book about it. It's on Amazon. It's a pretty good book. Mm. But she is very, very detailed about the entity attacks, and she can see spirits, and she's, very knowledgeable about it as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's it's almost like a time and a place, but there's like something that I believe, and not everybody has to believe this, but something that I believe is I almost feel like when we're born with a sense of attachment to a certain type of spirit, and not saying that it's a good or bad or worse or better than anybody else's spirit guides or spirit or whatever. But I feel like her purpose, the whole reason why she was born, was to teach people how to psychically protect themselves. Because I actually took like a whole 6-month course from her on how to psychically protect myself, and being able to raise my vibration to that level, but at the same time, not being attacked by any negative, because I do believe that there are dark forces that are keeping us. I mean, we look at all.
I'm not discrediting the fact that there's like lower energies, but I don't think that. So what I'll say is that I do agree with the fact that there's lower energies, but I do, and I do feel like there is such thing as a psychic attack, and I feel that there is ways to protect yourself. I'm just saying that
when you have a
like possession, like
bringing in a positive, high vibrational energy, that's what you're going to bring in.
Yes, you're absolutely right. But the thing is also that, this is just with my belief with my team, is that you have a team of people protecting you. Like you're just bringing forth like your grandfather or like your great grandfather. Like they're not gonna. While you will be picking up just energies from like the collective, from Gaia, I think that plays a lot into it too. And absolutely, I'm not saying that there's not spirits that passed over and are not like pissed off like nobody's business.
Right.
Absolutely. Because there's not this huge like angelic transformation in my head when you're like, axe murdering people and then you just change. So absolutely, I'm going to say that there is, when you channel through, there is some people that are like serial killers, and they're not good people, and they are dense energy. I am definitely 110% saying that. But like, I feel that basically, yes, it can be draining when you're connecting to them or they're around you, but I don't believe in like possession or like, because like your spirit team is like protecting you. So yes, you're absolutely right that not every medium can pick up every type of energy. So if we had somebody here and like 5 psychics here, like 2 of us may be able to pick up this person, you know, 2 of us may be able to pick up another, and then 1 of us picks up somebody else who nobody could pick up. Yeah. So I definitely believe in that. It's just that in my experience, yes, I have connected to people with very low vibration, but I haven't seen a circumstance where they've been trapped by that low vibration.
Right.
Yeah. But the other thing is meditation and understanding, when you meditate, just like there's some, guided meditations on YouTube. Some people, you could go on like Spotify or like iTunes or the internet, like anywhere, and really look up meditation and just start to meditate and understand that like my gift is not the same as your gift, is the same as their gift. And, you know, comparison is like one of our worst enemies. So, you know, meditation will start to open you up to what your gift is. So just set intention. Like if you want to start, you know, for example, seeing or proving the evidence of spirits in your life, you know, say, you know, could you show me like a sea turtle today or something, you know, just start by that. And then you're going to see it, maybe not immediately, but maybe within a couple days or soon. It could be something like, it wouldn't be so typical. You would see like, you know, a pyramid or something like that, you know, and they will show it to you. And what you got to do is set intention and ask them just what you want to see. And then if there's stuff they show you, because sometimes they're going to show you stuff or do stuff, you're like, oh, I don't like that. Just tell them stop. You know, like I have a spirit that was like turning on the radio at 3:00 in the morning on a regular basis, or turning on my kitchen light. And people who are not spiritual, it scares the ever living crap out of them. Right. So I had to be like, hey, out loud, like, turning on the light at 3:00 in the morning or turning on my radio at 3:00 in the morning is scaring people. So please don't do that. You can find other ways to get my attention, but please don't do that. Yeah. And then journal. So I think journaling is something that we should be doing on a regular basis to not only understand our emotions through, you know, Mercury retrograde, the energy shifts, because we're talking to a lot of people right now, I can feel it, that are here because they're like, something weird is going on in my life. Like something is starting to change and they're trying to find the answers, and they're here listening to us and they're like, I don't feel in alignment with my job anymore, or maybe my relationship. Like they're starting to do that 5D transition. And they really need to start journaling. Like journal how you feel. So when you feel those negative feelings, like journal them down. Or when you go to sleep at night and you dream about, you know, a whale in the ocean or something, like, you know, jot it down. And like, I just like, search engines are like my best friend. like I always joke and I say, like, if I ever pass away, like clear my search engine out, because people are
gonna be like, why is she?
Yeah, was a nice person. But
what's really funny is I actually looked up a beached whale the other day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I don't know why. Oh, it's because that's how I was feeling. I was feeling like
okay. See, they're probably still delivering things to me. Yeah. But you know, that's the thing, when you see something, like something random, and you'll start to notice the energy shifts. And this is something that, you know, I'm really working on trying to get people to notice, is the energy shifts, not only like internally. Yeah. And, you know, or thoughts that are external to you. And that's really important as a medium, because the thoughts that you're seeing from spirit are almost at the same frequency as your own thoughts. So you really have to learn like what's you and like what's not you. So you're not like, oh, I'm seeing like a young man here looks like he's from 1930. And you're just like, I just don't even know who that is. Cause it could be your imagination. So it's really, mediumship is really understanding vibration, and it's a continuous process. You know, it's not a perfect science. Like, even though on TV, they will show mediums just being like right on every single
Oh no, there's editing.
like thing. You'll see yes, there's editing, number one. And number two, all the things we talk about are things that spirit is telling us. And A, they may not have happened yet. B, you might not remember or have knowledge of some of the things that mediums talk about. And yeah, you just might forget. And then like 5 days later, you're just thinking, oh my gosh, that was like Steven from my great grandma's side. Like, and you see a picture or something, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. I think that, the last thing is you can also find teachers. So it's who you're in vibrational alignment with and what your belief systems are. And that's part of the S in my shell is like, I really don't feel like, you know, my beliefs may not be somebody else's beliefs. We all are having a different experience as we're elevating to 5D. So we just need to know and respect, like, each of our experiences is unique and for a purpose, for God or source and the collective and Gaia. So it's okay for me to, you know, say believe in like 5 different things, or you to, we're all having like different experiences, and we are all built in God's image or source's image, and all gathering information for the like I said, the collective and source. Yes. So I absolutely believe that some of the things that I might be built for, or my core processor, you know, my core, the way that I was built before I came here and the journey that I'm on, like, I believe in reincarnation, and maybe in my next lifetime, I might believe in something totally different. So I can totally, you know, that's what we need to be open to, is just like, it's okay for people to believe.
Not subscribe to a certain belief system.
Absolutely.
I think it's really funny that I have only men that come through and talk to me. It's very amusing to me because I've always had such an issue with men in like the 3D world.
Yeah.
Growing up and everything, that it's really nice to know that I have like this core value of men that have passed over that are like, oh, we're still with you, sister. So that's really
you had your aunt come through too.
Oh yeah, that's my aunt did come through that one. But she was always such a big, like, strong energy as well. It's like, it's nice to know that I have that. So I really, really appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Explaining all of that, and hopefully the viewers lasted this long. We've been talking for about an hour and a half now.
Oh, have we? Oh, wait, see?
It went by like that.
See, when I'm doing spirit work, I'm like, it is like, like how we talk about things being timeless. I swear this happens to me every time. I'm like, it's been 30 minutes. And I'm like, oh crap, it's been
Yeah, I know.
Yes, I hope they, you know, they'll come here, you know, and gather what they need from, you know, our conversation.
Definitely. But if you guys want to check out Leanne's work, go to the SHELLrevival on YouTube.
Yeah.
I will link her channel in the description box below. And I always do that in the description box below. Yeah,
it's totally like, I don't know why we do that. Why do we do that?
Because there's not really a description box while we're doing it. And check her out on Instagram as well, the SHELLrevival. She does actually do medium work for other people. So you can email her, what is it, the SHELLrevival? It's just SHELLrevival11@gmail.com.
At Gmail, yes. And you can check me, like I said, you can, or like she said, you could check me out on YouTube. But yeah, I don't do just mediumship. So I do life alignment work. I'm really good at shadow work. And not only do I do this, like, as a medium, but I also have professional experience. So I've been doing life alignment for 10 years now, and I'm finishing my bachelor's degree in human services as we speak. So I have like education to carry me on to also the mediumship to help you.
She's very qualified to help you align yourself with your life. And thank you so much, Leanne.
Thank you so much. I loved being here. Yeah, and sharing energy and just talking to the collective. So thank you. I send you all the love and light.
You're welcome. All right. Bye, guys. See you soon.